If you've been in cannabis for a minute now, then this is probably going to hit a nerve. Now, this training is not for people that only want to push products or hide behind their inventory. This is for experts, people that have lived experience. And what I've found being in this space over a decade now is most experts, well, they don't have a lack of knowledge. What they're struggling with is how do you actually get people to pay for your expertise? Let me show you what I mean. Here's what most cannabis experts are taught. And this is often just the industry itself being in survival mode, or maybe someone has directly or indirectly told you these things. Now, I do want to preface this with none of these things are inherently bad. The problem becomes when we don't understand what actually gets you paid. So, first off, being available. What does that look like? There is often this energy, this expectation in the space that you should always be available, always be on call, always be over functioning. That can very quickly become a toxic cycle. Even worse yet, you're not going to get paid. The other big issue is being indispensable. Many people find that in the beginning, which is natural, that you want to just keep going, right? Like, I need to make myself as valuable as possible. And while this is inherently true, the problem becomes when you get stuck in a cycle and you don't really know how to get out. And many people, they feel like the solution is I just need to work harder. Now, hard work in and of itself is not a problem. The deeper issue is when you're just working harder and harder and harder and not smarter. And this is why so many people, especially when you look at all the restrictions, all the different things that we face for simply being in this space, it can very quickly become overwhelming. And so, what I've seen working with a lot of experts is that they don't know what to do. So, they just try to be more available. Hey, let's get on a call. Let me send you this proposal. What often happens with that? Well, people negotiate you down, they take you less and less seriously. Meanwhile, you have all this expertise, you have years in the game, for some people, decades, but yet it's feeling like, all right, well, I'm not actually getting paid what I'm worth. But meanwhile, I'm indispensable, right? I know that other people don't know what I know. I know that people come to me for help. So what gives? And often it just becomes this cycle where you're just working harder and harder and getting less and less back. Here is what nobody tells cannabis experts about what's actually going on, because there is a huge difference between someone saying, oh, well, that person's helpful and smart, and someone actually paying you for your expertise. This is often the missing link because, again, these trains are not inherently bad, right? You need hard work to get to the next level. You need to be available to some degree, and you need to be indispensable. The problem is when you don't have the other pieces in place. So let's talk about that. Number one, defining access. What does that actually mean? So, whether you like it or not, it is human nature. If something is always available, always accessible, what happens? Well, the value is less, right? We don't always value the things that are everywhere. So, when you're in this cycle, you're just getting on calls, you're giving in every post, then what happens? People might take, but they never pay you, right? Because you have not defined the access. But for many people, it becomes an issue of, I just don't know what to do. So they find themselves doing all these different things, trying to package their expertise. And I know throughout my years in this space with myself and others that when you don't have a clear direction, when your energy is scattered, you don't move forward. And at the same time, you end up burning yourself out. In order for people to pay you, you have to package it, right? You have to package it in a way that positions you as the expert that you are. Because here's the blunt truth that nobody wants to say out loud. And this isn't just true in cannabis, it is true across industries. If you do not define your position, the market will for you. And when you are in the commodity game, even as an expert, it is a losing game. Our goal is to be a category of one. Sure, there are certainly other people doing what you want to do. Let that be proof that this is possible. But you need to differentiate and package your expertise in a way that is going to be smarter and doesn't leave you in a cycle where you're just working harder and giving and giving and giving with nothing in return. And again, that is not to say that giving isn't important. It is. But what I find with so many people in this space is their hearts are in the right place, but they're often getting exploited because they're allowing it. You teach people how to treat you. And that starts with self-responsibility. And what begins to happen is when you go from just being overly available, having no boundaries, to defining access, what happens? Not only do people take you more seriously, but they get better results because you ask them to rise to the container that you are setting. And when you go from just being indispensable, trying to be everything to everyone, but instead getting clear on this is my expertise, this is how I'm going to package it, what happens? Again, people take you more seriously and you get better results. And when you go from just working harder and harder and harder to smarter and you control your positioning, you don't just allow the market to determine, you set the standard, things begin to change. Now, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, I really want to just be unemployed, I want to just stay inside a system, then this isn't for you. Go ahead and hop off. But if you are someone with that entrepreneurial mindset, you know that you bring something to the table. People have come to you in the past saying, hey, how do I do this? How does this work? You have a lived experience, whether that's years or even decades, then it is high time to start actually getting paid for what you know. And that begins with these initial steps: defining your access, packaging your expertise, controlling the positioning. And this is exactly the kind of work I'm walking people through right now. So if you are curious and you've been thinking about, I want to be able to monetize my knowledge, I want to be able to turn my info into income, then go ahead and go to blazitmedia.com, see what we're all about, and see if this is going to be a fit for you. Because we are at a pivotal point in cannabis right now. We're at the crossroads of consolidation, of things changing, but also an incredible opportunity that people need the information, the hard lessons, the things that you've learned, the experiences that you've had to help them on their journey. So if you are feeling that calling, this is your sign. I'll see you on the next one.